for joining. Today in this video we're going to start talking about CRUD examples. In this case, we're going to start using some components from Maddex, and then we're going to start using RPC for creating the roads, in this case without API, and then we're going to start involucrate ahora Jay, ahora ¿te escuchas ahora? Sí, ahora sí. Okay. Okay, so we're going to start talking about Prisma database and how we're going to integrate. We're going to start working with SQLite because it's local, so we're going to start local first and advance. Maybe next video we're going to start talking about validation and authentication in this case, but we're going to focus on creating a CRUD application using Caspian in this case. So we already know we have a single command to start our application, which is great in this case. So npx latest. I'm going to use Tailwind. I'm not going to install TypeScript because I want to show how we can update the environment afterward. Or let's anyway after. Okay, Prisma ORM, yes. So as you can see, I'm not accepting to install TypeScript in this installation because I can update it afterwards when I'm ready to use it. No, because that is the option, that is the flexibility what Caspian give you when you are building your application with Caspian, because Caspian have this idea, like say, thinking and use the tools when you need and when you are ready to use it. So, well, having that thinking, we're going to wait until the installation finish. Okay. Okay, so let me give you a little navigation. Currently, accordion in previous video, when I was installing the accordion, I get an error. So already get fixed. So I just want, and now we have alert dialogues, which is very good when we are validating any kind of situation where we need to accept to delete something else. So we're going to warn if you are sure to delete this. Okay, or if the user say yes, continue, else when it's cancelled, it's just cancel it. No, so we have alert dialog integrated. You can install it direct from the list. So many small little things. This it's experimental. Don't install this yet. This is just experimental because I was trying to build a package named Soner. Yeah. So I was trying to build Soner toast. It's not ready yet, but well, it's got the look and feel, so everything just cool, and you just close. And Soner have this this type of look and feel, so not ready yet because I was experimenting on how it's already in the list, so it's gone with it. All right, let's go on. All right. Say creating virtual environment. All right. Let's wait a little bit because this is Python section. Okay. It's upgrading the. Okay. What next? We're going to use this one, this section, yes, because it's only design. So we're going to use this table to build our CRUD. And well, sure, we're going to use icon too. PP icons. We're going to use icons in this case. So you just go to this URL and you can get, because we're going to use pencil icon. There we have, and the trash icon. So I'm going to use those two already prepared. Okay. Very useful when you are doing to-do like. So this is useful when you are doing, but maybe we're going to see if we integrate that. But anyway, okay. Let's access first CRUD. Okay, now always remember, first thing first, run your environment on your server, npm run dev. If everything okay, we can move forward. Everything okay. So now we want to start moving forward. Okay. First thing first. Okay, we're going to create a list of to-dos, and then we're going to start doing the CRUD section. So let's just list to-do items in this case. So, well, template, li, and now I'm going to get to-dos. Okay, so we already have this. We're going to start in 2, 3. Okay, item in to-do in to-dos. So this is the way where pulse point works. So in this case, when you got like a list or things where you're going to display in loop, so you're going to go with the template and pp4, and then you're going to remember to pass the key, because it's very important in this case when you are doing, in this case, id. And we're going to do that. This is going to have the title, title. So this is all we need. We already have our to-do list in this case, but now remember we need this from the backend. This list should come from the backend, and we're going to use that same idea of that. So now what I'm going to do, like let's say I'm going to start preparing the backend for to use SQLite. No, so I want to say I'm going to use SQLite, just so, and let's see what comes up with. Okay, that's good, but I don't want. What this is going to do is that the database, in this case, how we're going to use SQLite, it's going to create the file in the root directory, which I don't want. So I'm going to say that I want it inside Prisma in this case. So I'm going to put Prisma directory. So from the root directory inside Prisma directory, create the database. In this case, name db dev.db. So I'm save here. I come to the schema. Instead of Postgres, we're going to put SQLite. That's all we need. We save. And now what we need is to create our to-do model. No? So we're going to create model, and we have to say to-do. And here we got to-do, ID, title, completed, and so on. I don't want this section. I don't want the user section. Maybe next video. All right. Remember the ID is CUI ID, which is string based. Now we save this, and the commands, what you're going to use in this case, you're going to come here in database, Prisma. We already have our model set up. Great. No commands. Yes. Oh my gosh. I think I need to update this documentation because Prisma have its own commands. So we need to read about that too. Okay. Where you can find for current, but because I'm going to migrate most of that is Prisma ORM in this case. Here you're going to see all Prisma commands in this case because this is the Prisma documentation, which is the one. So here you're going to find all the commands and the information from the documentation you need. No? Okay, but anyway, so we're going to start migrating our database. I want you to focus to this directory, Prisma. So npx Prisma migrate dev. So that is the first command you need to execute when you are starting from new, you see, database. So I want to say enter, yes, and I get the migration file here. I get the SQL. Okay, so this is normal execution when you are creating first time your database, and afterward you need to execute or create your Python files, because here, as you can see, in SRC there is no library which going to communicate with your database. So what you're going to do is npx Prisma, or I mean in this case P and then Pi. I think this command, yes, it exists in this case. Let's see, installation CLI, yes, here we go, Python. So Prisma Python, and then you're going to just put generate. So it's going to generate the model in this case. This model, it's going to create those model for you. Now, as you can see, it's already being created, and when you come to Now in SRC you have two directory, one named lib Prisma, which have all the um, database relations needed. So now we have this information. We're going to open the Prisma Studio. So npx Prisma Studio. Oops. Okay, when you open Prisma Studio, you're going to see your tables, or in this case, models. So here we have to do, user, and user role. And you can, sure, you can create from here, insert new role and things like that. But we're going to start creating from our Python application. So we're going to come here into do, and what we're going to do, we're going to have this section open. Now here I'm going to create index.py, which is going to be the controller of this section. So here I say I don't have defined the page. Yes, I know. And then I'm going to render, in this case, HTML file. So how the HTML name? Just pass down the file because I name CM like the controller file name index. So here we have. Okay, now how we're going to pass in this case, or how we're going to get the information from the database and then pass to front end, in this case, as an array. So the easiest part when you are using Prisma, in this case, maybe if you are using other how we name like SQL Alchemy and things like that, where that is optional, because Prisma ORM is optional. So if you are using Prisma, in this case, you can say just to-dos, and well, I want it from Prisma in this case. So Prisma, I want the to-do database in this case, table, and then find many, and here you can pass the option, the limits, things like that. Oof, JavaScript. Okay. So find many, and well, as you can see, we don't have any errors in this case, but now we have to-dos, and now we're going to pass to the render function the to-dos. Okay, nothing yet, but now we have the to-dos available in our index file, which I can get this way, to-dos with the CM name, in this case the CM name, and you can confirm that the incoming, in this case, as you can see, the cons it's empty array, which this mean it's good sign. So now let's create one to do, just a single to do in this case, and then we're going to start styling the UI, because we're going to start from small chunks, but very interesting. So I'm going to have input, and this is going to have a text. So in this input, I'm going to new to do in this case. So this new to do is going to have, let's capture the new to do information, new to do. So the this going this name, normally in React they call it two-way binding. Two-way binding is that when you have an input which is going to pass you the value when some event happens, and you're going to capture that value. So here in this case, what I'm going to say new to do, and I want to capture that or update that value when an event occurs. So an input event which going to start helping us. So now it's going to set to do, and here you're going to get the event and target, and then well you need the value, no? Now let's print the value new to do, and just so just for testing purposes right here, and we want to start say hello, and you capture the input of the value of the input. So I already know that I already have this value on my hand. Now I can create my to-do. So for creating a to-do, a new to-do, I'm going to come as easy as this. Just I'm going to create an RPC, and let's define. Let's see how everything goes. And I'm going to say create to-do. We're going to receive the title, Prisma create completed files. Okay, so let's import from Caspian RPC. Okay. So now when I press enter, or when I press, let's say on key press, or if you have a form in this case, or if you have a form, you're going to prevent doing this thing. In this case, on key down, event key, enter, then you're going to execute create to do this, because the form it's which going to help you on doing this section. But we don't have any form, so we're going to start creating. So I'm going to create async function in this case. So I'm going to say create to do, and in this case I'm going to get the value of this input, and so I think yeah, have it good here. Trim, if empty, then return. So what I'm going to do is just go there, cancel log, and new to do. So if the new to do, which is coming from the input, it's empty, then just return. Don't do anything. So here we're going to say hello. So I'm pressing enter, nothing happened, but when you have creating to do hello. So I got the input information. Now what I'm going to do is to call to the function using RPC. So the easiest part is I want the response, in this case, response, it's coming from pp RPC, in this case RPC auto completion there, create to do, and then I just pass the title and just new to do. So I'm going to print if everything were gone as expected. We're going to have our first to do created. So let's say test, enter, response is null. Let's say what's happened. Okay, expected because we aren't returning any data. So what we're going to do is create it to do, and now we're going to return this created to do. And if we come now in to do and refresh this page, we have our to do created. As you can see, the completed and the title, it's test, but we don't have the to do in this case. So next thing, we have issue with this section. As you can see here, this is not JSON, so we need to solve that this going to be JSON. Let's see if this solves. No, aren't solving because because we need to pass this to dictionary in this case. Okay, let me see. JSON here. No. Okay, now we need to pass, and in this case you can use JSON format, but this quite change. So okay, let's see, render. Okay, oof, my bad. I think it's JSON and save will work good in this case. So now we got the information in JSON format. As you can see here, we have the information in JSON format. So now we are good to go. So yes, the thing is that now we have the information which we can create and return in the same time. So there is no need to, let's say, you create the to-do and then you need to refresh, or then you need to refresh the list to get the to-dos. No, in this case, when you are working with Caspian, is single request. You create the to-do, and then when you return, in this case, when you are returning, you get in the created to do. So let's test. Test 2. Okay. Yes. So as you can see, we get the result. Now what we're going to do is to just set, in this case, all right, let's clean up and set to do's, which is reactive in this case because this is the list, and now we're going to add the new response in this case, and the response is that going to have this information. So when I refresh, I have the new created to do. So I'm going to new test 3. So when I enter of what's up, okay, let me see what is going on. Okay, there we go. Okay, nothing was happening, to be sincere, because just was never being refreshed. So I created to do, in this case, as you can see, I created to do single request, and I get back the created to do. And what I'm doing is just populating the new created to do to this list. And this reactively is going to add in the list, in the current list, so there is no need to refresh or things like that. So finally, oof, there we go. So we already have our to-do created. So if I come to the studio, I get in all the to-dos, in this case, the created to-do list. So this way you can create to-dos. Okay, the easiest way to create to-dos. Okay, so next, what we're going to do is to delete the to-do. All right, so to deleting to-dos, in this case, it's very straightforward, because you just need a button, in this case, and say remove, and click no, it's HTML. So here we're going to do, let's say, we need an asset function, remove to do. All right, artificial intelligence already moving forward for me. Okay, as you can see, remove to do, I'm going to use this same function In RPC, nothing going to change because I'm just going to define remove to do and to do ID. In this case, it's string, and instead of returning success, let's return the deleted to do. Deleted to do, and no. Okay, return. And in this case, we are already removing in this section we have JavaScript. So now we have our button which we have removed. So what I'm going to do, let's test4 get remove. Okay, so we have some issue here. I say remove to do got unexpected keyword argument ID. Okay, it's very important, as you can see, debugging or finding any issue or error in this case. You have the server section, which we already know it's Python and FastAPI running, so you can have that information right on your terminal, because when you send the request, because this header is going to go direct and the payload what you are sending is ID, and we are trying to receive here remove to do as to do ID, which is incorrect. So what we need just to say, we are waiting for ID 2, so that going to have the same relation as this. So we sending ID, as you can see, object ID, we receiving ID here too. So now let's give a try. As you can see, everything's working as expected. So we remove and should be removed from the database too. So I'm going to refresh. As you can see, the test4 has been removed. Okay, so next, what about the editing the title? So for editing the title, same as we do the same, because here save or create to do and editing, it's almost the same. But in this case, when we press, let's say when we click here in the input, we can, let's say we can set the input and then set a mode, which we can do a mode, and when the mode is edit, we can update to the server, and when it's new, well, there is not going to be are you going to say a new to do. So you can decide in many how many decide which option you like to go with. But for now, what I'm going to do is just I'm going to display the which to do I want to edit. So to do to edit. So I'm going to create this variable inside cons. So when I click, in this case, when I click, let's say I'm going to have edit and yes, oof. Okay, okay, instead of getting just the ID, what I want is to get the object itself, the to-do object. In this case, the to-do have, as we can see, the to-do have, and remember, this is your database model. So the to-do have ID, the to-do have title, the to-do have completed, created, so on, so on. And so when I say to the loop, I want the to-do object, it's going to return the model of the to-do. So that is the good part. So we're going to, let's say in here, we're going to display the object itself. Let's put a JSON in this case. convert to JSON. So this way, when um, let me get some space over here. So this way, when we click to the edit button, as you can see, we have null here, and now I get the object itself. So here we have the object itself, and now we can get the information of the object. We can extract easily. So let's say I want the to edit the title, just the title, just give me the title. In this case, display right next to the to do title. Okay, I put it as optional, not say required, because I put it, when you don't put the question mark, it's meant to say required. So press edit and I get test2. Press edit, I get test3. So this way you can have the information totally. We are welcome. Okay, so well, what we are building is we are creating to-dos. We are creating to-dos, but in this case, CRUD, create, read, and update and delete. So we already advanced. In this case, we already advanced reading, creating, and deleting. So currently we are in the stage, in the edit stage. So what we're going to do now, we are already, as you can see, this is the to-do list and this is the script, and we already create our model, and this is our index page, which is the controller of the Python part where it's handling the database and the model, and which is going to pass the information to JavaScript to manipulate in the client side. So this way. So what we're going to do is that we're going to remove all this section because we already know how to get information from the loop. So what we're going to do is that when we click, we're going to set to the input the new to do, and then we're going to set a stage in this case. So we're going to say it's edit mode in this case, because normally its edit mode is going to be false. So when the edit mode is false, what we're going to do, it's going to create the to-do. But when the edit mode is true, so what we're going to do is going to update the to-do. So now instead of when we click in the edit, we're going to set new to do. We're going to set the title. So this case we need to get the to do itself. So okay, easy as this. Current to do. So we are going to capture the current to do in this case, and then let's see quite some about this effect. So what I'm going to do is when current to do changes, dependency, same like React does. So for you to have more leaky information how you can do things and so on. So in effect, same like React does, when this current to do changes, I want set the new to do, just the title to the new to do. So if in this case current to do, well, there we have it. So easy as this, long, and so when I press, as you can see, I'm setting the input text and it's already prepared for edit. So now what I'm going to do is, how I already have the information for this, so I'm going to put in if condition here. Easy as this, if so now we are sending the ID, which is current to do ID, and the title, which is the edited ID. So here in my Python file, I'm going to create another RPC. So we're going to define update to do. We don't have any completed for now, so we're going to omit that and return the updated to do. So here we're going to find the ID in this case, and then the data, which is going to be the title, which we want to update. So easy as this. Let's say we save, and now I have my to do to update. Let's try. Let's give a try. Title, edit it, and well, I'm gonna just press enter, and we get our updated to do. Easy as that. You have created a to do in this case, as you can see. And when you refresh, no changes because it's already been updated to the database, edited, and let's remove and we refresh. We have this, refresh, and add new, and we have test new, add, and we have our, if I want to edit it, and as you can see, we are already editing. And the good part is that the request, it's being controlled by you, because you are not requesting, or you are not doing, let's say, the server side state, because it's local state. So what we are doing is that when we create a to do, it's local state, and the request goes and then come back with the response, and when like reactively you're going to insert in the list, and the edit and the remove the same way. So as you can see, building a to-do app or CRUD app in Caspian, in Python, in this case Python, because this what you see, this is Python, pure Python, and what we are doing in this case in index HTML, it's JavaScript. And as you can see, it's reactive JavaScript, not normal JavaScript, which we already know in this case, get element by ID. No, we have reactive JavaScript, because Caspian, that is the way of building application in Caspian reactively. There is no need to be getting the IDs and things like that. So, well, having this way, we already know. Now, what if I want to, let's say, improve the styling or improve the UI? No, I'm going to show you two ways in this case, because currently we have pulse point which have the rules in this case, because you can come in pulse point, because remember the reactive is and pulse point. In this case, you need to read little about this documentation, because you to understand how pulse point works. And we got the LLM ND if you want to work offline in this case. But if you want to give your LLMs in this case, which I'm going to do, um, let's say I'm just going to get the URL of these LLMs. As you can see here, the pulse point LLMs, where all the pulse point rules it's been provided. So the easiest way, which I think it when I this is just for trying in this case. So let's say I want to implement search. So let's see what IA comes with, because this is one of the way which I see that it's very useful when you have these rules of for LLMs, and it's like guidance for IA to, in this case, to know how to solve issues. So here it's starting to writing, let's say how. Okay, it's already done, so I'm just going to copy and paste, that's all. And it's, yeah, it says search to do, and let's search. It's working. As you can see, I didn't give so much useful prompt in this case, implement this way, this and that. I just say implement search, and I give the rules in this case, which to follow. No, so this way we already have a search to do, and to do, and now we can easily say and in this case, remember to tell what technology you are using. So I'm going to say tell that using Tailwind CSS before um, just so. That's all I need to say. Let's see. Okay. So if you don't want to, let's say, to be struggling about with UI and things like that, you can design your UIs and then just tell IA to do, because this is classic, you know. All right, here, oof, I don't know what it's going to come with. I'm curious about. Okay, let's copy, paste, save, cross. Oh my god. Oh my god. Eh, pretty looking good, eh? Let's search. It's pretty. As you can see, the search is locally too, because there is no network request until if you want to search to the backend, you're going to implement that too. So in this case, let's say let's search for test only new. We get that information, and now let's try to add maybe it, if not get break it. So hello. Yes, it's working. We have edit, and so hello edit. We have edit, and now we can remove finally goodbye. And let's see, finally, no finally, and there we go. So, well, if you have any doubts and questions you can comment below. But as you can see, easy as this, you have full control of how you're going to build application and having separate concern separation. Because remember, when you are building application, your database model should live um, in one section, and then your API request, because this is what you are doing is API request in this case, but which have sync with RPC. So the JavaScript section in this case, Pulse Point already know how to call to your server because he's already have the credentials to access to your server in this case, because it's coming from the same server, same site. So you are not ready, you are not getting issue with the course, because remember, course is one topic which is very quite sometimes it's quite confusing when you are making requests from one server to another server, which you're going to have almost every time. You're going to have the issue when you are building a server side, and then you have your React application just for reactivity section. So those going to always have need the permission to have to don't have any issue with curse. So this is the section where you are controlling your database, how you're going to do things, and all the credentials, things like that. And your database, in this case, your model, and your front end. So as you can see, there is complete separation of concern. The UI or the presentation, it's HTML, your model or schema, or it's optional if you choose Prisma, and then your controller in this case. So, well, this was the idea of creating fast, easy, your to-do app. So if there are any question, well, I'm open and to let's see if we found out. Maybe is there I missed something else and we can discuss. No, no, no problem. So, well, this was the intention to show why Caspian, in this case, why Caspian matters in creating your application using these tools. Okay. Anyone? Okay. Last but not least, remember when you are creating to-do application, you need three things, which all you need when you are working with Caspian: your model, your controller, and your front-end UI. Your JavaScript, reactive. And remember, it's very important that you can give the URL, and then you get more. I think that is the best way of talking with LLMs in this case. Okay. So, well, see you in next video, and happy coding.